Hello. So, if you're watching this, I'm guessing that you are the new owners of Rue or whatever it is that you have chosen to name him. So congratulations. Um, I am making this video for you to um, better understand him so that you can kind of get a head start. I know that pretty much anybody who cares for pets, would love to kind of know their past, where they're coming from, so that they can help them. And yeah, I'm really hoping that this will help you. And I will try not to cry, but if I do, I can just edit it out. So yes, yeah. Okay, so just to start, I wanted to kind of give a little bit of my story with him, just so that you understand better why he ended up back in the Humane Society, where we did adopt him from initially when he was about 4 months old, pretty sure. And I think that was in October of 2023. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he's approaching on 2 now, which is a lovely age to have a dog at. The puppy stage, as I quickly learned, can be very difficult to manage, but it's an experience for sure. So I am currently on my gap year. I just graduated a couple months ago from Edina High School in Minnesota. And I have always wanted a dog, always, since I was very little. My mom finally in elementary got us a cat. She was like, well, you want a dog, let me get you a cat. And I ended up falling in love with my cat. I realized that I love cats just as much as I love dogs, but they definitely are very, very different. And so I was not prepared for the amount of work pretty much that I was going to have to put in order to actually properly take care of a puppy, especially, and a dog as well. And as well, the other thing that didn't necessarily help was not really realizing when we did finally get a dog that at that age, I was pretty much the only one who was going to be taking care of him. Not necessarily at the age, rather the circumstances that had evolved in our household. My mom, a couple of years ago, was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and it has been a very, very harsh treatment. The treatments have taken serious toll on her body, and it is difficult for her to walk on certain days. Other days it's been, hard for her to get out of bed, and yeah, it's just been hard. So my mom and my brother and I are the only 3 living in our house, and if you saw the other video of all the videos of Rue, there were actually quite a few other people in the videos. For example, my grandpa was probably in it a couple of times. My grandparents have a farm and they have their own dog. They can't take care of a puppy, they're just too old. Gus is really just pretty getting there. Sorry, their dog, he's getting there in age as well. So he's very, very easy for them to take care of. Not that Rue is not. But yes, as well, there were 2 to 3 other people in the videos, besides my brother and I. My brother and I showed up a couple of times, but there was also my partner and my brother's past partner, and I'm sure my dad was also in at least one of the videos. So yes, there have been other people around to kind of spend time with him and all of that stuff, but My partner, it's just not fair to ask him to come over all the time. He lives about half an hour away to help take care of Rue, and my dad lives in a different country. Yeah, so pretty much it was my mom, my brother, and I, and my brother's not a big animal person. He's definitely not very big on taking care of animals. So, with my mom's health, it was really often up to me to take care of him. I pretty much raised him. And as I said, I'm on my gap year right now. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to him because I thought that he was just gonna be there when I got back. I kind of took that for granted. I was a little bit pushed out the door to catch my flight, and I was a little sad that I didn't get to say goodbye, but now it's a lot harder now that it's dawned on me that I'm never probably gonna, I might never get to say goodbye again, but yeah. So that is the situation. I left home, and pretty soon after I left, my mother realized that she would not be able to manage him on her own for the most part. As I said, my brother's pretty out of the picture. And also, it just wasn't a fair life to continue to give to him. So she informed me a couple of days ago that she had given him back to the Animal Humane Society, and it was really hard for me at first, but I was able to receive some clarity or some sense of closure through making these videos, and just really hoping that they end up getting to you, and that you do watch them. I really would appreciate that. Yeah, so now that you do know the backstory, I'm just going to go over what I was able to think of that you might need to know. Things such as, you know, health, kind of like habits, so that if there's ever anything that seems off, you can kind of know from what I've known, you know, okay, this is something that he might need to get checked out for, or no, this is pretty normal for him. And things such as training, how much training he's had, what kind of training, his kind of triggers, or things that he doesn't like, things that he loves, a range of things. But yeah, so I will go over all of that. And another thing is that all I really ask is that you just, you know, give him the best life that you are able to, and if, you know, if you're willing, if you would be kind enough to let me visit him once when I get back, just to kind of get that goodbye that I never got, I would really appreciate that a lot. But like I said, at the end of the day, what I really want the most is that he just gets the best life he can get. Yeah, and just in case you would like to reach out to allow me to visit him once when I get back, I will give you my number, and as well my email. My number might be a little bit unsure right now. I'm kind of, yeah, I'm not sure if it's gonna stay the same, but I will definitely give you my email and the phone number. It's probably best to contact me by email, actually, because it definitely will change by the time I get back. And as well, just, you know, if not for that, then to ask any questions that you might have. Yeah, just to give him the best life. Yeah, so my email, let me just write it down here so that you can also, oh, I will, no, you know what? I just learned how to edit with that last video that I made of him for the first time ever. So, yes, I can type it somewhere. But yeah, so let's not delay this any longer. Let's get into it. All right, so I'm gonna start out with something a little bit lighthearted, or pretty lighthearted actually. And before I go over any of these, I just wanted to, I'm sure, you know, I don't really know your experience with dogs. I don't know, you know, what you know or don't know, but, you know, just so that you don't get a little bit kind of discouraged by any sort of negative things I might have to say. I only say them so that they can help you. Please don't get discouraged, because every dog, just like every human, has their own personality. They're all going to have their ups and downs, and of course the things he's been through in life are going to determine kind of you know, how you might act or habits or anything like that. And of course all of those things are not permanent either. Yes, and he is definitely a very trainable dog, so yeah, please keep that in mind before I continue. Yeah, so starting with his favorite things, I want to say Rue really, really loves to be outside, and more than that, he loves to be kind of able to roam off on his own, where he doesn't have to worry about, you know, being called, or sorry, about me, like, oh my goodness, there's a person coming, or there's another dog coming somewhere. I mean, he just really loves to be able to roam somewhere free, which is why the farm was really nice to bring him, yes, to play with Gus. And as well, on that note, another thing he loves is playing. He loves playing with humans, he loves playing with other dogs. When he does play, though, so that you're aware, with other dogs, I mean, perhaps humans as well. I mean, he does just do a little growling, but with dogs, it might seem at first as though he is being aggressive, but if you know dog language, all of that, he's not being aggressive. He just loves to play. He really loves to play. Yeah. He also, what else does he love? He loves water. Oh my goodness. If you saw my other video, you would have seen him playing in a bunch of melted puddles. He really loves water, he does, but we've never taken him into kind of large bodies of water. I don't know if he knows how to swim. If he does, it's been a long time, because I don't remember. I don't have a very good memory, by the way. But he definitely loves to wade into water. He loves to splash around. He loves to get muddy. What dog doesn't? He is obsessed with water. And he is not a big animal chaser, but that being said, every once in a while, when we would go in the back, when he would see the turkeys and the squirrels, over time he did kind of learn that it was fun to watch them run away. I've never seen him catch anything. I don't know that he would want to. I'm not sure. I think, in my opinion, he just really loves to watch them fly away or run up a tree. I'm not sure. But he's not someone who, if he sees a squirrel, you have to worry about he's gonna break your arm off. He's not that kind of dog. And he also loves treats. He loves treats. Oh my goodness. That dog loves food. He really does. He's not as food motivated as other dogs that I've seen, and that also probably does help the fact that he does not try to steal food. He is not food aggressive. The only time I've ever seen him get upset over a food-related matter, trait-related matter, was when he was, I was visiting my aunt with her dog in their home. I was home alone with the two of them. I had some food in my hands, just laying on the couch, and they got into a fight. That's the only fight he's ever gotten into. I was really not happy about it, and I was shocked because it wasn't like a I'm gonna kill you fight. It was like a that's my food and that's my person kind of fight. But also I think he was probably a little bit uncomfortable in the fact that he was in the home of another dog, and not only was it another dog, but um, they weren't best friends for sure. He's definitely much more friends with my grandparents' dog. So of course every dog has their own personality. They're gonna get along differently. Um, that's just something that you have to learn with each dog. And you know, also they were probably two dogs that think that they are kind of more in charge. So yes, that is the only time that has ever happened. Other than that, especially with humans, he has never ever tried to bite me for food. He knows the word gentle, especially if you kind of hold it in your hand and you're just like gentle, you know, like slowly kind of being like, okay, like take it, or more slowly going up to him rather than, because every once in a while he can get too excited and he's like, oh, treat, and then he just, but he's never bitten anybody ever. And yes, he's not food aggressive. He has not ever tried to steal food off the table. He's never jumped up on a table, never put his paws up on a table. Every once in a while I will catch him kind of putting his nose up to things up on a higher counter, or even things on his level or lower, but no, he's never, even once I've left food several times at his level, lower, higher, whatever, it doesn't matter. He's never tried to steal it. He knows he's not allowed to have it unless I give it to him. And always just double check, make sure I kind of, you know, say, you know, when I walk away from a plate for a while, I'll just say leave it just in case, but even if I haven't said that, he just doesn't touch it. Yes, and sorry, I have gone off into a different topic a little bit, but I think that kind of as I go, I will be probably doing that a little bit, just thinking of the different things that I would need to tell you. And that will be good for you to know. So yeah, I think for now, I'm going to finish up on that topic. And if anything comes up later, then that's great. I can add that in then. But yeah, I'm going to move on to the next topic. And that is, I'm going to move on to the next topic, and that is going to be his habits. Yeah. All right, so as far as his habits go, first I'm going to talk about potty. Rue often needs to go to the bathroom, number 2, several times a day. What I've learned with him throughout the years, and you know, I'm not sure, perhaps as he gets older this might change, of course, but as of now, this is the last way that I knew it being. He always has to go first thing in the morning. He always has to go right before bed, and he usually has to end up going twice in the morning, and it's especially good if you take him for a long walk. He might go twice just right then, or if you take him out, poo, and then bring him in, have him have breakfast, and then take him out again a little bit later. And then as far as the afternoon goes, he does also sometimes have to go twice in the afternoon as well, and he does most days have to go in the middle of the day as well. But that being said, you know, there have been occasions, of course, where we've had to leave him at home for several hours because nobody's home, and we just take him out potty right before we leave and right when we get back, and he's always been just fine. And habits, another habit is that I am not sure if this is a habit or not. It happened once, and so I couldn't tell you if it's a habit or if it was just that one time, but just for you to know, just in case. He, I'm not sure if I wasn't home or if I was just sleeping through all of his whining or if I'm not sure. But when I got home, or no, my brother found some diarrhea under, I had a bunch of pile of clothes, sturdy clothes, I'm not sure, on the floor, and my brother found some diarrhea under them. And, you know, it's not like it was on top of the clothes, it's not like it was by the door, it was under the clothes, and I just have the feeling that he felt bad that he wasn't able to get outside to make it, and that he hid it. And my brother, he did end up saying that later, you know, before he found that, he was concerned about Rue because he was kind of shaking. So I'm not sure if maybe he just would feel bad, considering he is potty trained when he does have an accident inside. So just to kind of keep that in mind. Other bathroom habits, as far as he usually goes again first thing in the morning, late at night, just whenever you take him out. I mean, here's the thing, here's a habit of his. If he is whining incessantly, excessively, whatever, he has to go. He does not whine excessively unless he has to go. If he's whining a little bit and you say, Rue, stop it, perhaps because he wants a treat or something, he wants to play maybe, he usually will, you know, kind of stop after a little bit. But if he continues to whine and continues, know that he has to go to the bathroom. That has always been the case with me. It has almost never been the case that it was something else, and if it was, recently he has been really wanting to just play a lot. But if he's whining a lot, yes, he does have to go out. And on that note, another habit is that he has been getting into barking lately, and the thing is that he doesn't bark an insane amount, but in the last few months, for whatever reason, he started kind of barking every once in a while, especially if he gets off leash or if I let him off leash and he runs into a person and it's around his house, especially, or when someone kind of knocks on the door sometimes. But it's not like a, you know, bark, 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 bark. It's like a few times, and also that's the other thing is that he does have pit bull in him, so it can be a little bit scary, but he's never aggressive. It's not in that sort of way. And that is definitely something that I wish I had had the time to work on that with him, but it's definitely something that can be trained out of him for sure, because he was not that way until recently. And we're not sure exactly what started it, but yeah. Let's see, what else? I'm trying to think of what other kind of habits I can mention. I think I'm just going to come back to that if I have any other thoughts. And I'm going to move on to what is normal for him health-wise. As far as health goes, he has no health issues that we know of. That being said, he does tend to eat a lot of things outside that he finds that he should not be eating, especially when he was younger. He is getting better about it now, but he does have a tendency to eat a lot of things, things that also probably should not be eaten. And in that case, he does, you know, receive an upset tummy, as in, you know, kind of just, as far as going to the bathroom goes. But that being said, when we feed him anything that sort of kind of leftovers or any sort of treat, human food treat, he really has a pretty solid stomach. He really does not get upset. He never really throws up. Yeah, if he does, there's probably he's sick or something. And even if he's accidentally gotten something that's not good for dogs, he's usually still pretty okay. Yeah, he does seem to have a good hard stomach. I guess I've already talked about his bathroom habits, so I don't have to go over that again. And as far as any other health things go, he's really pretty healthy, and I don't think there's much else that I could say about that. Yeah, again, feel free 100% to contact me if you have any sort of questions, if something kind of shows up with him that you're not really sure about. Of course, you can definitely go to the vet, but if you're not necessarily thinking you have to go to the vet, or you just want to kind of be sure first that it's not something that's pretty normal with him, definitely just shoot me an email. And if you do reach out to me at some point, when I do get a new phone number, I can definitely give that to you. But I'm sure that, of course, after a year of being with him, you're also going to learn him pretty well as well. So, and hopefully after making this video, it will really help a lot as well. Yeah, so I'm going to move on now to, well, I was gonna do food, but I've pretty much already covered that. I think other than that, he's really been given pretty much just pebbles, food, dog food his whole life. Or sorry, yeah, for as long as we've had him. And of course he does get the occasional leftovers in his food, which he absolutely adores. And when switching food brands, we have noticed that he does sometimes get a little bit of trouble if you kind of stop the last one immediately and start the new one. But if you just incorporate it, mix it for about a week or a few days even, he should be fine, unless we did get a brand once that just was not for him. His tummy did not like it, so we took him off of it, and he was better. So for the most part, we've noticed that most brands seem to be fine for him. And what we have done, I'm not sure what weight he is at now in the Humane Society. I don't know that it would be much different in 2 weeks' time. Or actually, I'm not really sure exactly how long ago my mom put him in there, but I think it would be about 2 weeks' time. But just kind of for at the weight, I guess, that you would see in the videos, right? We were doing like a yogurt cup size scoop, and we would do 2 of those, and I did start to do 2.5 at some point, I think, but I'm sure you'll figure it out yourselves. But yeah, just so you know, that was what we had him at. Yes, and I think, yeah, so that's what he's used to. But of course, it would be lovely if you can, give him a real food diet rather than the processed stuff, the processed dog pebbles. But of course, not everybody can. We definitely couldn't. Yes, so moving on to the next one, which is exercise. Rue pretty much has gotten about, on average, 1 hour long walk a day. And oftentimes actually we weren't even able to do that. So definitely he could use a lot more exercise, of course not an excessive amount, but just so you know, if you are going to start kind of going on runs with him, he's never been on really runs before, or if you're going to start hiking with him, you know, of course he has done a couple of hikes, but I'd say just kind of maybe take it easy at first, because even though he's not necessarily 100% a couch potato, he also isn't necessarily a exercise dog or a work dog or anything like that. So yes, and I think that pretty much covers that. And then as far as let's see, the next one I'm going to do is training. So when we got him, so around 4 to 5 months old, I went to training with him, and I pretty much took about like 2 courses maybe. I think I had to retake one of them because I missed too many classes. And then that was it. But that being said, you know, I have kind of continued training sporadically here and there. We never really kept up with kind of consistent training sessions, and when we would train, like I said, it would just be pretty sporadic, and he's a really quick learner. I could teach him something in a matter of less than a week, a day even sometimes. And then as far as leashes go, collars and stuff like that, he, I don't think has ever worn a harness. We have only ever used a regular collar when he was a puppy, and then a prong collar for him now. And he can definitely be a puller, because I just didn't really work on that with him enough. I did every once in a while. So of course, if you were to continue that training, then I'm sure over time he would eventually get really good at it. But and of course, it also depends on the person that was walking him, because with my mother, he was much more docile. Sorry. He was much more less. He would pull much less more. Yeah, so as far as all of those go, I think well, let's see, so training, okay, and then I was also going to talk about the commands that he knows. Of course, if you won't have, you know, your own commands that you would rather he learn, that's completely fine, but also just if you would rather just make it easier on him for the commands he already does know, so he doesn't have to relearn a whole new set of commands, yes, then this would definitely help. So for sit, I would do sit like that. For down, I would do down. He even knows stand. I would do like that, stand. And he does know like paw and shake if you just kind of put out your hand, you know, but we stopped doing that with him. I told everybody, please stop doing that, because, you know, when he was a puppy, he would start kind of just putting his paw up on you, and I'm like, no, that's obnoxious. So we stopped doing that with him, and he pretty much he never does that anymore. He doesn't know any sort of tricks like, you know, roll over or spin or anything like that. But what does he know? He does know, he knows catch. If you say catch, throw something for him, he will definitely catch it. Sometimes he misses, but he's a pretty good catcher. He does not know bring it back, or like if you throw something for him, he doesn't know any sort of command to bring it back to you, but he does know leave it, and he does know he semi knows drop it. He kind of knows it. I taught it to him a little bit, but then I stopped working on that completely pretty much. So it's in there a little bit, but it's really not a command that he knows. Mainly the toys that we would play with him when we were out in the park would be sticks, because I would forget often to bring like a ball or something like that. So pretty much a lot of the time when I would throw a stick for him, he would run after it. He loves to be chased. He loves to be chased. He also loves to chase as well. So that's another thing that I learned early on, that if he's kind of, now actually he's been, I've been working on it with him to come back to me when he's off leash and when I need him to come back to me and to stay there and not to go running after some people. But he does get the crazy sometimes, but he's just like running. But I have been working lately on kind of coming back to me, because that's a word that he was not very good at for a long time, and he's getting there. He's better than he was before, but he still needs a lot of work on that. But yes, so there's that. But when he was younger and he wouldn't come back to me, he would just want to go and of course he's never tried to run away, but he would just want to go and like have him chase you. He loves that game, and he would want to go and meet the people or bark at them or meet the dog, whatever was passing by. And when that was the case when he was younger, I would start running in the opposite direction, and he would come bolting after me, and he's so quick. He will catch up to you pretty quickly. And so that is something to know, just in case, but of course it would be best to really work on just fully getting there with the coming back. And yes, that is the word that we use, is come. And I would say that in the past, when I wouldn't let him off, so there were days when I would let him off leash, especially when we were at the park and there wasn't really anybody there and the fields were just super big. But then there were also when I was just taking him out for a potty break, or when I just didn't feel like having him off leash because he had been behaving the few days before. Like, I would drop the leash, let him be, and then he would kind of bug some neighbors, and I'd be like, oh, brew. And so then I would have him on the leash, but then I would accidentally drop it. This happened quite a lot, especially because when he has to go to the bathroom, he has learned to kind of like run to the bathroom. And then he also does have a little bit of trauma with pooping. So that is something that I'm sure you could probably teach out of him, but we just never tried. That as soon as he's done pooping, he will run away from his poop and he'll run like, kind of like 10 steps, and then he'll be like, okay, we're good now. Yes, but so then a lot of the times when he would kind of run after he was done pooping, then I would end up having to drop the leash because sometimes I was up on rocks or whatever. And before, when he was younger, he would just be like, oh my gosh, I'm off leash, I'm gonna go crazy, and like, I'm gonna get the puppy crazies, and I'm gonna I'm going to totally taunt you and just be like this far away, and you're almost there, and then I'm gonna run, and then, oh my goodness. But definitely now, in the last few months, he has gotten a lot better about it. When I do drop the leash on accident or on purpose, he'll kind of stay nearby, and I'll just slowly walk over to him, not really like, oh my gosh, you got off leash, and I'm kind of making it a game now, it's exciting. No, I would just slowly walk over to him, and he would let me pick up the leash again, and then we'd be on our way. So yes, and then other commands, so he knows down and then off, as in like kind of getting off a bed or getting off a person, off. It's a work in progress. And when he was a puppy, he wanted to jump up on everyone. So he does still do that with the people who let him, but he never did it with me anymore, because I stopped letting him. I let him for pretty much most of his life, that I had him, and then in the last few months, I was like, no, I would walk away. I would show no interest. I'm like, I just got home, and I'm gonna wait for you to calm down. And so he really pretty much stopped jumping on me because he learned, oh, this isn't exciting, this isn't fun. So, yes, but then with the people who would let him and they wouldn't do anything about it and they'd get all excited and woo, then he still can sometimes jump up. But, you know, he's definitely a lot better about it than when he was a puppy. And then the other thing, okay, as far as commands go, I'm pretty sure from what I can remember, that's all he knows. Sorry, I forgot one. Oh my goodness. He does know heal. He does know heal, and he knows that so he is still a little bit kind of in the stages of it, because I didn't work on it with him enough. So every once in a while, I can say heal, and he'll know exactly what to do. But for the most part, I do still have to do this, where I bring him around with the treat to the position I want him to be in, and then, hold him above his head, he sits. So now he does know that when I do say heal, and when he does understand, or when I do have to do this, he gets to my side and he sits. We haven't worked as much on heel walking, which is probably part of the reason why he does still pull. But, he doesn't pull every day, just so you know. I mean, yes, he can pull, but also he stops pulling as soon as he gets tired. As soon as, if you take him out enough, the pulling mellows a lot. When he hasn't been taken out a lot and he misses the park, he misses going out, he's only been out for potty breaks for the last week, that's when he starts to pull. And what else can I tell you? Well, I will see if I can think of anything else later, but let's move on to socialization is the next topic I'm going to go into. So, socialization is something that's been a little bit hard for him, but not because of him, because of the circumstances that we were in our building. We live in a very ethnic building, and a lot of the people in the building are afraid of dogs, and kind of, would give this reaction of, oh, like, I'm staying away from you pretty much every time that we would pass him by, even after 2 years of living there. So from pretty early on age that we got him, he kind of learned that he was not really allowed to greet people, and he would occasionally get to greet someone who would, show interest, but for the most part, he wasn't really allowed to greet people because I knew that they were afraid of him, and so we kind of I would even pull him to my side so that I really didn't scare them or anything, and so he does need some working on to do with socialization, and he has been into stores. I was bringing him into a place that I worked previously, a grocery store, and towards the end, I realized it was not a good idea to bring him in anymore because he just, he likes to sit from the car and watch. It gets a little bit too exciting and a little bit anxious to kind of be inside where there's oh my goodness, there's lots of people that want to talk to me and see me. And there's all these food smells probably also. I think he does do better in pet stores because there's not as many people. You only see people every once in a while, kind of. And he was in kind of a Home Depot when he was younger, but that was quite a while ago, so I'm not sure. For the most part, he still needs some manners to learn as far as like going into stores go, but also I would say just that we kind of learned, of course, unless you really want him to come into certain stores with you, we pretty much learned that he just likes to sit in the car as long as it's not a too hot day with the windows rolled down, or you know, just stay at home. And yes, as far as that goes, there's another thing that I just remembered about his favorite things. He loves car rides. He absolutely adores them. He really loves to stick his head out the window and just kind of feel the wind rushing, see things going on. He really loves it best when it's, you know, below 40, 35 miles an hour, and it's just kind of like around the neighborhood. When we do go on road trips or camping trips, we did take him on a camping trip once, my partner and I, and he did really well. So we did have him sleep in the car. He did really well with that. And then when we had him in the campsite, we had him off leash. He stayed by us. He was really, really, really good. He loves to explore. He loves to see what's around. And when we do take him on long car rides, he can start whining at some points, but he's not like an obsessive whiner. And if you just tell him, Rue, sit, stop it, you know, then over time he'll realize, okay, this whining is not getting me anywhere, and then he'll kind of mellow down, and especially as the ride goes on. So that's the thing, is that kind of, I think, like the long drive and the freeway is a little bit more like, where are we going, you know, why is it taking so long? And then as soon as you kind of like slow down, he's like perks up, and then he starts kind of, that's when he might whine a little bit, when he's like, are we there, you know? But he really doesn't whine the whole time, and he does mellow down pretty quickly. And when he's going around neighborhood drives and you've got the window rolled down for him, he doesn't whine. He really doesn't. He just loves it. Yes, so I think that pretty much covers socialization. Yeah, he definitely does need some work, but he also loves people. He really does, especially people that love him. And then fears. So I'm gonna go over fears next. And I do call him a scaredy cat some of the time, because he's not like trembling afraid, but you know, say I were to kind of do this like right in front of him, he would back up and he'd be like, what the heck? Or like sometimes when I kind of like take a fan out and I start like fanning him, he's like, what the heck? And he starts running around the house, and I'm like kind of like running after him, but he's not like trembling afraid. He's just like a big baby, is what I call him. And you know, don't be surprised if he's kind of just like, what the heck is that? You know, especially if you kind of like bring it up to him, he'll be like, okay, it's fine, you know. But yes, that's pretty much that. And as far as like actual fears that he has goes, and I'm also gonna kind of cover traumas and triggers at the same time. So the thing is that we don't know, of course, where he was before us, the 3 or 4 months before us, and we actually think he might have come from down south, if I'm remembering correctly, if that was kind of on his paperwork, but I do not remember. But whatever sort of situation he was in, whatever he experienced, we're not sure. He does have just a few, not really many, but just a few things that he kind of like, it's like, oh. One of them being, so I'm gonna cover all the things that have to do with people right now. And then after that, then there's only really one more that I can think of. But as far as people goes, he does tend to kind of get a little bit like weary of people that have a darker skin color. We're not sure why, or where that comes from. But that being said, when he has, so not everybody, because, you know, there are some people he's like, oh my goodness, I love you. But, you know, when he has had that, we kind of, and, you know, they do want to see him, we just prompt him with treats. We slowly bring him over and he realizes, okay, they're okay. So it's not something that can't be trained out of him. The other thing is that we have noticed that he does tend to kind of veer away from and perhaps even bark at men with beards, or like, you know, a hijab, anything that seems kind of like big, or even like a really, really, really big jacket, or I don't know, just things that kind of seem like big or off. And then the last thing with people is that I think he definitely is getting better, but just in general, kind of bigger, you know, broader men. Definitely like boys, or teenagers, or even just kind of like smaller men. Not really an issue, but bigger men, we're not really sure where it came from, but like I said, it's definitely something that when you work with him with treats and with the other person, can be taught out of him for sure. And then the only other thing that I could really think of was that, unfortunately, due to I'm pretty sure my brother, possibly even me once, but I think it really was with my brother, he has a thing with doors. If it is something that you have to open and kind of hold open for him to go through, he's gonna run through a little bit. Not like crazy, but just kind of like, oh, you know, I gotta get through that door, because it kind of shut on him when he was a puppy. And yes, those are the only things that I really can think of as far as like actual fears and traumas goes. Otherwise, anything else, yeah, of course, even people, you know, we have our fears and traumas, but then we also have things that sometimes get a little bit scary or a little bit, you know, stressful or something like that. I'm sorry, it is getting darker here, so I'm just gonna turn up my computer. Hopefully that will help. Yes, I'm going to move on to the next thing. Which is, right, so the vet and home care, any sort of, you know, grooming, that kind of stuff. Which, just so you know, to clarify, he's never been to a groomer's, never needed to go to a groomer's. His hair stays the same length year round. And we clip his nails at home. Actually, I do, and he's really, really, really good about it. He doesn't even really need treats. Of course, it's always nice to give them to him, but there have been 1 or 2 times when I didn't give him treats and he was just fine. I mean, of course, you know, sometimes he's like I want my paw back, you know, like stop doing that. But he never tries to like bite you. He's never tried to bite anyone for anything, but he never really gets too upset about it. And especially if you have treats, oh my goodness, he will be a delight. Yeah. As far as, so pretty much the only 2 things I can think of that we've ever really done for him are clipping nails and showers when he needs them, of course. And as far as showers goes, he has learned to actually kind of really be okay with it, but as long as it is not in the bathroom. He's afraid of bathrooms. That is something I forgot to put down on his fears. Okay, looks like I found a light, apparently. I didn't think about that before, but yes, so that is something I forgot to mention before. That is a second fear of his, that he does seem to not like bathrooms. The other thing is that the only really 2 bathrooms that he's kind of been in are ours at home, which have a really obnoxiously loud fan that's on whenever you turn the light on. We can't turn it off. And they're both kind of standard white, you know, bathroom with tiles. And the other one was when he was in his puppy training with me, and I tried to go in once because I had to do something, and I tried to bring him in with me, and it was kind of the same, you know, tiles, white, all of that. And he just wouldn't allow it. So when he was really not happy with showers when he was younger, that was when we were giving him showers upstairs in our bathroom. But now, you know, in recent months, I would give him showers in the basement, where the cars were parked for the apartment, and they had a car wash station, and I would just hose him down with that. And perhaps it may be because it looks like the vet, and I think the vet is not his favorite place to be. He's not, you know, crazy about it. He's also not like super duper bad about it either. It's not something to be too worried about, but definitely for sure give him some encouragement. If you are able to go back there with him, that would be best, because, you know, the vets, he doesn't know them, all of that. I'm sure, you know, of course they work with all sorts of animals, so I'm sure they know what they're doing, of course, and they're good with him. But at the same time, it's always good to have a friendly face. And yes, so then as far as, so then that covers the vet. I guess I kind of ended up going into that anyways. And then I think I'm going to cover next barking and whining. I pretty much already covered kind of whining, that he really only whines when he needs something, and it's almost always to go to the bathroom. Almost every single time. And then as far as barking goes, like I said, he really never barked until about a few months ago, and for that reason, I really think it's a habit that, especially if you work on it right away, you could kick pretty quickly, pretty easily, and especially with the right motivations. He definitely loves treats, and I think that pretty much covers that. So I think we've really only got few topics left. I'm just going to talk about listening skills next. I kind of already covered this a little bit throughout, but he listens really when he wants to, or when there's treats, and sometimes he chooses not to listen. Doesn't mean that he doesn't know what you're asking for, but especially when he thinks it's a game. He loves games. Games are his world. So he can be a kind of selective listener, but you know, with the right amount of training, Rue is just a really, really good dog, and I just didn't ever give him as much training as I would have liked, as he should have had, as any dog should have, really. Yeah, and then, so talking about other dogs and other pets. Other dogs he usually tends to do pretty well with. He does tend to get along better with the dogs that are perhaps a little bit more submissive, and also just dogs that really are pretty nonchalant. You know, they're not like aggressive, they don't, you know, they don't really care about much other than like playing and just kind of hanging out. Those are dogs he really gets along with the best. And then as far as other pets goes, you know, he really only has experience with my cat, who lives at my grandparents' farm now. And she is a little bit afraid of him just because of his puppy energy, especially when he was younger. So she, you know, he pretty much stays away for the most part. I mean, of course, he has his curiosity, but he really has no problem with them at all. He just wants to play mainly. Okay, I'm going to move on to off leash, and after that, I think I'm just going to put out anything else that I might remember. Besides that, that's pretty much it. So for off leash, I think probably from gathering everything else I've said, you can probably get a pretty good idea. He does really love it. He is getting better at it for sure. And I did recently, in the last few weeks before I left for my gap year and before my mom returned him to the Humane Society, I got him a long lead, so he is now familiar with that as well. And when I could, I really would like to when I could, I really liked to take him out on the long lead, because he does much better on that than he does on the short leash or any standard leash. I myself have never tried the retractable. I know that it's considered not the best idea in the dog world, especially with a dog as big as Rue, but definitely the long leash was a good buy for me. He does really well at kind of not pulling with that one. He never pulls because he will get far enough ahead that he catches a sniff. He really wants to sniff. I catch up to him, and then he goes on ahead a little bit, or he'll get behind a little bit, and as soon as I reach the end of the rope, or the lead, you can feel just a little bit of a tug, because it's not like I yank him, I'm not running. And he will definitely come, no issues, no resistance. He's like, okay, I've had long enough to sniff now, and it's like I can just pretty much walk at the speed that I'm walking at, and he keeps up the whole time. He's not right by my side, but he's, as either there, a little bit farther as far as it'll take him, but it really is really nice for him, and he really does a lot better on it. Probably because the freedom, I'm not really sure, but he seems to like that one. Yeah. And I just remembered, so having to do with toys, if you get a toy with a squeaker, he will tear it apart pretty quickly. Most of them he tears apart pretty quickly to get to the squeaker. That's what he wants. But if it doesn't have a squeaker, sometimes he really won't tear at it. He has this one big bunny. I'm not sure. My mom told me that she did send some of his stuff with the Animal Humane Society. I'm not sure if they would give it to you or not, but he did have this one big bunny pretty much for as long as I can remember, and he's kept it that way. He did chew up the baby, and that there was like a big bunny and a baby bunny together, and the baby bunny didn't have a squeaker, but he did chew it up. But I guess he likes the big one. I think he did de-stuff it a little, but he didn't tear the whole thing apart. So yeah, I'm trying to think what else, but I really think that covers about most of it. So yeah, I'd just like to thank you guys, or you, whoever you are, for adopting him. He's really a sweet little angel, and of course he can be a little bit silly sometimes, and a little naughty sometimes, but he really has a sweetheart. And yeah, I just I hope that he will bring lots of love to your home as he did to mine. So yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to watch the video. And like I said, please reach out to me if you feel comfortable. And yeah, I will be back from my gap year at the end of March in 2026. And if at all possible, I would love to see him, but if not, I respect that. And I am sure that he will find a loving home in your family. So yeah, thank you.